Well, it's
Finally. Yeah.
what was that?
Nothing. We didn't say anything.
Yes,
Do you have this
it
clicker? Never a clicker around when you need one. Okay.
Flag's right there.
Oh, we're doing one too? Huh? That's not on the agenda.
We don't have to do it.
Should we?
Yeah.
All right, we'd like to call to order the March 28, 2012 Board of Education special meeting on the budget. We'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance. Over there. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Capabianco. Mr. Cavanero. Mr. Kisco.
Here.
Mr. Marola. Mr. Nargi.
Here.
Mr. Oliver.
Here.
Mr. Rivero.
Here.
Mr. Tebow.
Here.
Mr. Trout.
Here.
Mrs. Batchelder. Here. Mrs. DeMonico. Here. Mr. Jocelyn.
Here.
Mrs. Clacko.
Here.
Mayor Bingham. Matt Cavanero. Maggie Finn. Christine Keewan.
Thank you. At this point, we'd like to, as I'm sure everyone already knows, the search committee concluded and we have selected a new superintendent of schools for the Torrington Public School System effective July 1, 2012. We're very proud to announce that that position is filled by Cheryl Clacko.
I just want to say thank you very much to the board, first and foremost, of having faith in me to be able to do this job. And I would also like to thank all of you who've been participating through this budget program, budget project through its inception, that you've hung in there, and I hope you'll hang in with us until May, till we can get it through. And for all of you teachers, parents, and community members out there, we're in this together. So I'm not alone, and I know I'm not alone, and so that makes it quite doable. So thank you, all of you.
Okay, we'd like to move into the acting superintendent's 2012-2013 budget.
Kim,
Yes.
don't we as a board vote officially to?
We could, yes, instead of just an introduction. Can I get a motion to,
I will make a motion to accept Cheryl Clacko as our superintendent effective July 1.
Second. Discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nagy. Okay, into the proposal budget for 12-13 school year.
Before you, this will be the final proposed budget with reductions and additions. We received some information regarding insurance today, which would allow us to make some changes in the recommended budget and the reductions that we would have to incur. And so if you take a look in the information before you, we would still include the option, the education cost sharing grant would still remain at $468,000. Yes.
No, the screen.
No, I don't have that.
Okay.
that we would continue to align the Torrington Public School calendar with the technical high school and follow a state calendar for a $40,000 savings. We still know that parents, students, and other organizations in town have offered to provide supplies for a savings of $20,000. Continue with the reduction of instructional resources, dues, and fees for $24,000. A reduction of field trip transportation costs in grades 9 through 12, $15,000. The reduction of the TMS late bus by 1 day a week, $10,000. Again, the savings accrued through the chiller repairs at Torrington Middle School, $100,000. What we what we're putting back in because of the savings that we have been notified for the change in a vendor for our insurance of savings of $445,240. We will add back the 2.5 THS teachers from the proposed reduction options. We'll add back 4 elementary positions from the proposed reduction options. We'll also add back 1 FTE position at Torrington Middle School, 1 more at Torrington High School, and then in case, because we are going by the initial amount for our educational cost sharing funding, $20,240. So that is the final proposed options for the 2012-2013 school budget. And this allows for flexibility for the administrators to, principals to take a look at their buildings and put people where they need them.
And for the record for everyone, the budget amount stays the same. The amount of the increase to the city is still 3.59%. This is just an internal moving of numbers because of an insurance savings that we were not allowed to realize until a conversation with the insurance consultant of the city. So we're not changing our total budget amount by this. This is just internal.
Because of the savings.
Right.
That's because of the, it's the equipment because of the jobs.
Okay.
Do you want a motion to approve this budget figure to start our conversation?
Mm-hmm. And then we'll go into discussion.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we move to the Board of Finance and City Council a proposed budget of $67,215,957.
Can I get a second from Mr. Marola? Okay, discussion. You want to start at one end? Mr. Kisco, would you like to start? And we'll go around the table.
I am happy with what we have in front of us.
Okay, Mrs. Capabianco. Sorry.
I'm very happy to see the positions put in. I would like to make a motion to remove $10,000 from the special ed personnel line item. And I would still like some further discussion on the 3 coaching positions and if all 3 are needed. Possibly convert one of those positions into another assistant principal.
Okay.
We have a motion on the floor.
Well, we have a motion. This is discussion on the motion for the budget. If you want to make additions or deletions, we're just going to. We have. Someone have a running tally going here.
Yeah.
Fiona has asked for 10,000.
Yes.
And
And
then
coaches. The coaches' positions.
okay. Mr. Marola.
to reduce the special ed by the 10 and re-examine the coaching positions. And also with Chris for administrator at the high school. But I'm very happy with how things panned out.
I'm just going to echo what everyone else just said. It's just easier.
All right. Mr. Nargi, I'll grab that microphone.
Right now, I'm just looking to see that the 3 coaching positions be deleted. And in my feeling, I would like that money to reduce our entire budget by that sum at this point.
Daniel.
I would like to commend administration on a very nice budget. I'm pleased to see the addition of the teaching staff back in our schools. I will agree with Fiona that I would like to see the $10,000 reduction out of the special ed budget, as well as adding in a possible additional administrator to the high school with looking at the coaching positions to pay for it.
Before I comment, in the, as you know, last week, let me make one general comment, just to correct something that was reported in the paper, and it was a confusing discussion, but it is related to the budget from last week. I initially asked for 10% to come off the sports budget, and when that number was actually calculated, I thought it was too severe, and by the end, wiser minds prevailed, and what I had sided with was the majority, which is what we were asking for, was the dollar amount of what the board was asking as $25 pay for play. That dollar amount be deducted from the budget. That's what I support, specifically for sports. And I didn't want to touch the music program at all. Again, on my general principle that that is a highly, highly successful program that is one of the few shining lights in the whole city of Torrington that we can market, and very difficult to market anything in Torrington to prospective employers and middle-class families moving into town. That's something that we can't hang our hat on, and we should not be in the business of stepping on a success story of that magnitude. I do have a question about Director of Special Programs in the org chart that I asked for. Is that currently being funded? Is that currently in the budget, that position?
Yes.
There is money in there
Yes.
to hire a Director of Special Programs?
It's currently, we've left the,
There's a line item in there.
Yes.
we left the funding in there because we are gonna have to look into a grant writer, and we're not.
Okay. I would argue that we cut that out. What is that dollar amount?
120.
120.
120, beautiful. So I would argue that we cut out the 120 that we, for a position we don't have. I think, and then I would propose cutting out, as Fiona suggested, as I brought up last week, 3 coaches at approximately $100,000 each, looking at almost $400,000, looking at $400,000 plus coming out of central office, basically. And I think 3.59%, in my personal opinion, is not a responsible budget to be bringing forward to the city when the mayor and city council asks us to be at 0%. And I've been a huge proponent of funding what is necessary for educational specific purposes. And before we go in front of the city to 3.59%, I think we need to cut as much of the absolutely non-essential functions in this budget as we can. When we're cutting out $20,000 of supplies to kids and families, I don't see how we can justify keeping this many administrators within our system as coaches. You know, it just, I know the administration is going to make their argument, and I look forward to hearing it, but I don't see the success related in the numbers by any means. And I think those functions, I know Ms. Clacko used to hold that position, and then she moved up to the interim, so therefore there was a vacancy. Instead of just filling it, I've seen 8 years of superintendents backfilling positions that were not necessary and leading to bloated central office staffs. It happens in Torrington, it happens all across the state, across the country, and I think it's high time that we said, okay, enough's enough. We are at the cliff. We're not going over the cliff. We're there. I mean, we're right there. And this board has to look beyond this budget cycle. We got to look at next year as well. we've got to, you know, we have got to cut this as lean and mean as possible. And I'd rather do it now than wait for them to tell us what to do and pick some arbitrary number. So I would look at taking out the 3 coaching positions, at approximately $100,000 per, and taking out that line item for the Director of Special Programs, which is vacant at $420,000. I think that moves the needle to make a more responsible budget. Thank you.
Mr. Caponero, can we just correct one item?
Yep.
And that is what the costs for the coaches are?
Yep.
And that they are not administrators, that they are teachers. Okay, I just want to correct that. They are not.
I'd rather see the teaching and coaching.
Okay. So
But
do
what
you,
will happen to you is they're going to move into the system and you're gonna lose the lower end teachers. You're not gonna save 100, you're gonna save closer to 30 was the number that we were given, because it's gonna bump down.
Because of the bumping rights?
Yeah, because of bumpy rights, but also because of the unemployment. The unemployment's
Right,
going to last
so-
a certain amount of time, too.
So it's not gonna be
That's
300.
too.
It's not gonna be 300, you're gonna probably be closer to 100.
Okay, but I'd still rather redefine teachers as teachers, administrators as administrators. Let the administrators handle the coaching, let them figure out how to coach teachers that aren't doing their jobs or whatever these coaches, I'd like to hear what the coaches, why we have, I don't know, I'd like to hear the argument for keeping them in this, and I'll have to say.
did you have an opportunity to read the materials I sent this
Yes, I
weekend?
did.
Okay,
Yes, I did.
because that, in that packet that I shared with the board, it demonstrated the role of the coach, what they do specifically, because it really is an improvement in instruction. That's the whole focus of the job of the coach. It also included how on the elementary level, we have moved our CMT scores from, in mathematics, from below the state average to well above the state average over the past 5 years. It showed.
My question is that the coaches? Is that the coaches, or is that because we have good teachers who are doing their jobs as good teachers?
It's, you know, I think it's probably just like it is in sports. Somebody can be a really good star athlete, but you need that good coach to help them fine tune it and get it a little bit better. And when you look at what the purpose of a coach is in any role, whether it's somebody in receiving physical or occupational therapy, if it's an athlete, it's someone who helps the person become better at their craft, at their work. And that's the role of the coach.
I get that. My
Okay.
question is it a luxury at this point when we're laying off? I mean, all of a sudden,
No.
no, it's not. These are teachers talking?
Raise your hand if you're a teacher or a principal saying that.
I don't want to hear the principals, just the teachers. Well, I've, again, 8 years of administrators self-promoting, you know, makes you a little cynical, that's all.
And the other thing that was important in this packet is it did give the history of administrators in the Torrington Public Schools. And as you can see, it went from anywhere from 19 and 20 down currently to 13. So then if you cut the Director of Special Programs, we'll be down to 12. And as acting superintendent, I've been trying to do that role. The one piece I do not have time for, unfortunately, is for grant writing. And if we're going to supplement our program and bring in money and look at what's out there to make our school districts stronger, we do need support with grant writing.
I'm just wondering why that can't be absorbed by other existing administrators.
Well, I think because, as I said, we went from 20 down to 13. And so when you asked last week about how organized were we and why we weren't organized and why were so many people doing so many of, jobs together to get it done, it's because your current central office administration has picked up multiple roles that they never did before over the course of the past 5 years. And
Does that mean we can go?
That's it.
We're done, everybody.
this is, this isn't, we're not trying to stuff the budget. We understand why we had to get to zero. We meet weekly or bi-weekly with the mayor. We follow closely what he recommends. we're trying to preserve what we currently have, right now, right this day, March 28th. That's what this budget does.
Andrew?
When did one of the coaches leave last year?
Right, and we did not backfill.
When did that happen?
October.
November, yeah,
It was
November.
October. So that position is not going to cost us any unemployment. We're not going to have to backfill that position. That person will not backfill. Obviously, the person's not here. So why are you saying that that would only be a $30,000 saving? Would be, what was that position being paid?
The savings for the 3 coaches
No, excuse me,
would
just the one.
equate to 180 total.
That
That's the
includes the
total.
fact that
That
one of
position
them
is
will
82.
not,
Correct.
and what was that position paid?
That's the 82,000.
So each coach was paid $82,000?
Each coach is paid 82,000. The literacy coach was 82,000, and you're accurate. It wouldn't be, that person wouldn't bump because there's no person in there. The other 2 positions would then only seek a $50,000 savings because of bumping ranks in the teacher ranks, the teacher contract. So it's a total of 180 that would be saved.
So if we did just one elimination of the coaching position, that would be $82,000.
If we did the elimination of the literacy coach.
Well, why would we eliminate? You're saying that those coaches are not interchangeable, i.e. you have 3 of them.
Well, you have literacy and you have numeracy. So you have a math teacher and an English teacher, so no, they're not necessarily interchangeable.
But what you're saying is that we did not have literacy past October last year, so don't even bring that one back in.
Well, I
So
mean,
that's
use the correct numbers
82,000.
when
That's
you're talking
82.
about what the total amount of reduction is going to be.
But you can reduce the position of coach. You are not reducing the teacher because they have seniority in the system and they would remain in the system in salaries. So the only thing you will save will be the 2 lowest paid teachers that they would bounce.
For 2 of them. The third one.
We've already,
that
and that's what
concept is not
Danielle's
applied.
saying, 182,000. That's what would be realized in saving.
I
Okay.
understand that. The second thing is you talk about the merit of these 3 coaches and you started using data. One of them was gone by October. So how effective was that? You had that position vacant since October.
But what was initiated was.
All of the accomplishment took place up until October, and to lose the person.
No, the mathematics, I did not even demonstrate to you the benefits. I could demonstrate the benefits of having literacy coaches on the elementary level. I did not demonstrate the benefits on the secondary level because there was no evidence, because it was only there till October. You're right, I'm not gonna disagree
These were
with you.
grant positions, right?
Pardon?
1-year grant positions?
No, 2-year.
When did they begin in
No,
this year?
they were grant funded for 2 years.
When did they begin, what year?
2 years.
2 years ago.
Well, yeah, is it the 10, it's the 9-10 budget, 9-10 budget, when we got the job fund, job act
Aaron.
funds.
So,
And the jobs, there were two.
Yeah, there were 2.
ERA and then the ed jobs.
Ed jobs, thank you.
so with the data you provided, so that bump in performance would show up solely as a difference between 2010 and 2011, right?
For math? No.
For literacy, they began
For
in
li-
2009,
for literacy.
2010, right?
Yes.
That's the first year they were working, 2009, 2010?
Yes.
No. They were here for
That's when they
ERA.
were hired, they were put in the budget for the.
No, but were they, no.
10, 11 is the era,
When did
the era money.
started?
10, 11.
10, 11,
It was
I'm sorry,
10,
10, 11,
11.
we're in 11, 12, so this was
Yeah.
the second year where
Yeah.
that cliff happened, yes.
Okay, but what the literacy coach did, just so you have some idea of what they've done, is they've been part of the response to intervention team. This is interventions that are provided for regular ed students so that they don't necessarily go to assessment and special education to receive support services. They do school-based literacy team meetings where they look with not only the reading coaches on the elementary level, but all across the district on strategies to work on with students specifically. They collect, they're part of school data teams where we really analyze where students are performing, what piece of literacy is the weakest area in a grade level, in a classroom. So we get, across the school, so we can zone in on specific areas of, that we're gonna work on and include, we've done the analysis of where teachers and students need support in order to improve performance. They do district and school professional development. They provided training in what we call Readers Workshop and Writers Workshop. They've done workshops in developmental reading assessment. These are state benchmarks that are recommended where students should be reading on specific levels as they move from elementary school through the middle school. They help with running records, CMT and CAP strategies, effective reading strategies, common formative assessments, data collection, and using data to drive instruction. Beyond the blueprint, effective reading strategies for grades 4 through 12. They help teachers differentiate reading and literacy instruction in the classroom. And they created a CAP literacy course. They developed a grade 9 CAP simulation test. They created a CMT literacy course. They developed and implemented CMT daily do-nows and CAP problems of the week, timelines for common assessments, and literacy resource binders. And they experienced a jump of 10% in the number of students at proficient in reading and writing on the spring 2010 assessments. So that's what they did in their 1 year.
Where's that reflected, Ms. Papa?
That is not in part of your packet that I sent you this weekend. I would have to send it to you.
Why was the one piece of data that would prove your case not included in that packet?
Because I just received it from, it was in the, oh, it's a, yeah, that's right. That's just a smaller version, sorry. Yes, it was in there.
Where does it show?
Let me tell you. Yeah, the instructional,
The rationale.
The data that you present.
it's in here.
Oh, it's under rationale for
Yeah.
instructional support positions, I believe is the title.
Yes.
Rationale.
And there's also instructional support impact.
And CAP.
I don't,
Do you need a hard copy of that?
Hang on, hold on. Mr. Kisco.
I think it's easy to look at these positions and wonder what they do. If you spend any time in the school, you know what these people do. They aren't flushing $50 bills down the toilet until it gets clogged and then calling an expensive plumber while they watch soap operas for the rest of the day. These people are busy. It does show up in the test results. It's not going to show up with this spectacular burst of fireworks. I mean, this is Torrington. We're off to a slow start on dealing with what we're looking at for a student body. We talk about standing in the edge of a cliff or being at a point where it's all going to go over if we don't do something. We are, but I prefer to look at it as our Bridgeport moment. At some point, Bridgeport and New Haven and, pick your own favorite city in Connecticut, was looking at the demographic changes we are, was looking at a student population, whether they recognize it or not, as having needs that were significantly different from what they were used to dealing with. They didn't choose to deal with it in the way that we know now that they should have and could have. And we are choosing to deal with it this way. Among the components of that work is the coaches, the numeracy coaches, the literacy coaches who help the teachers do their job better. Doesn't make the teacher's job easier if that's what you're looking at. What it does actually significant number of those kids stay unskilled, stay ignorant, stay essentially unschooled, and then see what you're dealing with 4, 5, 6 years from now at the high school, no matter what we decide to put into it. I hate the idea of cutting out class teachers now, cutting out positions where people deal with kids, because a year from now, we'll have to put them back in because it's been such a problem. And good luck trying to get back any position that you take out of a budget. As for the central office position, one more thing to say and then we'll stop. The central office position, we've had a revolving door on the superintendent's office for the last few years, and I think the structure of the central office shows that. I would say we need to give Mrs. Butsko a year to straighten out the superintendent's office and put that into the form that she wants it in, to organize it the way that's going to help her do what we have hired her to do and have great confidence that she will be able to do. And that's turn the system around, give us some stability, and put things on a track that we can then encourage as years go on. I'm done.
To add my 2 cents, because I skipped over myself to allow the rest of you to go, I would like to see the reduction of the 3 coaching positions, moving them into assistant principals in our secondary schools that possess multiple training, that can coach and help with discipline issues, be available for administrative needs when needed, but have the ability to do the coaching that the 3 positions currently do. As far as the Director of Special Services position, special programs, I'm sorry. We have to look for every dime of grant money we can find. The only way we're gonna do that is to have somebody scouring the hills to find us money. The city's not gonna be able to improve our school system at the rate that we're gonna need it. We have to find private funding, we have to find grant funding, we have to find anything we can. I think that position's important to hold for that. We also, in our back of our minds, there is an $83,000 number floating around between the $468,000 and the $380,000 of $468 to $380 of the ECS additional money. Representative Cook was able to get it back for us, but it was sent to appropriations. There's no guarantee that that 80+ thousand is going to exist. So we have that 120. It would allow us to absorb the $80,000 loss. It would also allow us to hire at least a part-time grant writer to continue looking for funding. If we don't get the $83,000 loss, we'd be able to enhance our grant writing abilities and help in other areas of the budget that we've cut. At this point, that position's rather pivotal. We don't know which way that's going to go. But do you want to take these one at a time and see if we want to amend your motion one by one, or?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
We have the first topic that was brought up was the $10,000 reduction in the special ed salary line item, made by Fiona, Vinnie, Chris, and I echoed, David echoed it, Ellen echoed it, so. Let's take a vote on that. Do we want to add that to the budget or not add that to the budget?
You mean withdraw it?
A $10,000 reduction. Do we want to add that to our
In the special ed salary line
To
item.
reduce special ed by 10,000.
special ed? Yes,
Salaries.
salaries by 10,000.
Discussion?
Oh, your motion, a second, correct?
Okay,
Yep.
yes, discussion. Motion by Fiona, second by Vinnie.
Someone who would like to cut money wherever I can see cutting money. That's usually a line item that year after year after year, we're always running negative numbers. And we're always looking to find money to fill the gap in our special ed account. I wouldn't want to cut 10 because we're never, that line item's gonna cost us money. Now, unless I'm missing the point of where you think the 10,000.
Yes. We're cutting only the the salary line item within the budget, not the overall program, the tuition, the transportation. We're not cutting special ed in its budget. The salary line item within that budget.
By 10.
Yes.
Just how do you cut 10 off of the salary line? I mean, who gets paid the 10,000?
I guess the best way to answer that is that
It was
we leave that
discussed in
under-
an executive session that you were at 2 weeks ago.
Misunderstood what you were talking about, so
Okay.
where's the 10?
It's in the
Can't-
salary line item.
I can't say.
Okay,
It was discussed in an executive session that you were at, that
and I didn't understand where you
Okay.
got the 10.
any other discussion?
Not on that, no.
Paul? Dan? All right, all those in favor of adding this reduction? It's unanimous. Okay, we have the discussion of adding the late bus, the last day of the late bus back into the budget, which would be a expensive $10,000.
So it's a wash.
So that would be a wash with what we just did. Benny, would you like to make that motion? Your suggestion. A second on that? Ellen, any discussion on it?
We're voting on specifically, yes means voting yes.
We're voting to add the $10,000 back into the budget to put the late bus back on a 3-day schedule at the middle school. We've reduced it to a 2-day schedule. It impacts sports, detentions, children staying after for extra learning, drama, music. That's it. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Okay. 8-2. Against were Mr. Cavanero and Mr. Rivera. All right, our next one was saving the hot topic for last. Mr. Cavanero's request to reduce the athletics budget by the amount of the pay to participate, which that dollar amount is what, Daniel? Approximately 22,000. Would you like to make a motion to that effect, Mr. Cavanero? Second?
No second.
Second by Mr. Nargi. Any discussion?
I would like to see us still look at having athletics come in this year. This $22,000 reduction would not bring them to a zero. I would like the athletic department to come in the same as all of our schools have come in, and all of our other departments. I would like us to see athletics at a zero.
Okay.
What is,
So that would be a reduction of 40,000.
48,000. Okay. You want
I'll amend my motion to support Mr. Bianca.
All right, Mr. Cavanero amends his motion to a $48,000 reduction in athletics. You want to amend your second?
sure.
Okay. Any further discussion on the $48,000 reduction in athletics? You don't count.
I have one question for the reduction of 48. Now,
Yes.
my understanding was that also included the fact that we transferred over funding that used to be in the general line item for custodial fees over into the athletics
Yes, it
to
does.
support that.
Yes, it
So does that mean that the custodial fees that were never in the athletics budget, because we're reducing it now back to what it was originally, does that get put back into our general budget to support it? Or do that now, instead of just a $48,000 reduction, how much do those custodial fees are, and then that's actually the 48,000 plus for the reduction in the budget?
Yeah, so some of that,
It would, of the $48,000 increase, $33,000 of that is the custodial overtime that was switched from the district-wide budget into the athletic budget that has never been there before. So,
My feeling and my thought in this is, we're asking everyone else to make,
sorry.
we're asking everyone else to make do. We have elementary schools that are running their entire buildings after staff and electricity on $40,000. As a board member, I cannot justify an increase
discussion would be, do you want to move the custodial back out of there, or you want them to absorb a custodial fee they never had before?
Your motion is zero,
Zero.
regardless of
All
what.
everyone else is absorbing their own custodian fees. It's gotta be full across the board.
Okay. All right, yes?
You'll amend what?
To the 48,000 total.
No,
You want the
Fiona's
custodial?
point is just that they come in at zero. They come in at zero, just like Maryland Music did, correct? Is that what
Yeah.
you're asking, Fiona?
Yeah.
I mean, include
But we-
together
Yeah,
several
no.
line items now, is tough to get back to. The point was that they
Right.
just come in at zero.
Exclusive or inclusive of the custodial ads?
Well, okay, so I'm gonna do that.
In fairness, we didn't make an allocation, or we didn't segregate custodial overtime into the music line item.
So if last year's line item was zero plus the custodial,
We added it back in.
But you would,
that's what we're talking about.
No, I understand, I'm just trying to,
you'd be at a $15,000 cut, because it's a $48,000 increase, 33,000 of it's custodians.
so you would want to,
Yeah, because the custodial really is no net difference on the budget.
no, because we're going to put it, it'll be there one way or the other.
So I say, fine, if that makes sense, more sense for the board to.
Well, we forced that,
Yeah, that makes more
we
sense.
did that to them.
Yeah,
It's not
that
like,
makes sense. That makes sense.
so, yeah, they're not getting more equipment for that amount of money,
Exactly.
or adding another team for that piece of money,
Okay.
for that 33,000.
Will that money be
Right.
specifically earmarked for custodial?
That's what it's in there for.
Part of the general budget.
No, it should be earmarked for custodial overtime.
Yeah.
But by doing that, we're not going to go back to the concept of having any pay to play.
That's a separate motion.
Where is that going to be on this
We
sheet?
haven't gotten there yet.
It wasn't brought up as a
That's
topic.
And right now, the way it's budgeted, we have the $25 pay to play in this line item as it's now.
correct.
Yes.
So when you make that motion, are you making the motion?
Well, we can't, let's,
No, we're making a motion for a dollar amount cut to the athletic department. That's all the motion is. It doesn't include anything else.
and we're
The way it
discussing
was
how much
talked
that
about
is.
the last time, the reason why I believe Mr. Cavanero made that motion was so as to eliminate the pay to play. Without knowing whether or not we're reducing that item to zero, does that get us, does that stay with the concept of eliminating pay to play, or that zero with pay to play?
Right now, we're just talking about zero increase in the athletic budget, and that's the motion on the floor that we're discussing.
The overall budget that was presented tonight includes pay to participate
Yes.
unless it gets removed by the board. The motion that Mr. Cavanero has on the table is to reduce the athletic department budget by their increase minus the custodial that was forced on them. Is that correct?
Can't have pay to play.
Well,
Just point of order.
That was the whole point of it.
Hang on one second.
I just want to make sure we're doing this correctly. We have a motion on the floor for zero.
Well, no. His motion was on the floor for a reduction. Hers was in the discussion portion of it.
Okay.
So his motion is on
But
the
you
floor.
amended your motion, correct?
yes, I did.
To be that net,
Zero.
Zero.
to be the net zero,
Correct.
adding back in the overtime, the custodial overtime as it's presently allocated within that budget for that purpose,
Yeah, so it'd be the
So-
exact same dollar amount that was in the budget last year plus
The custodial.
their.
which is
their-
$33,000 for custodial.
Which is the custodial that is now in their budget.
So you're recommending that the athletic budget be reduced by $15,000?
If that's the number that.
No, it is.
And at the end of the day, then we have no more revenue from pay to play for either.
We haven't talked,
Sports or.
But that'll be another item for discussion as we move forward.
because your original motion didn't.
You didn't include that. Okay.
Do you want to amend your motion again?
Well, I don't know where the people are, so.
Well, why don't we just vote on this?
Let's vote on this, and then we'll vote on that as a separate one, so you'll know where everybody stands on that. Okay. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor of reducing the athletic budget by $15,000. All those in favor? 3. All those opposed? Abstain. Mr. Nargi abstains.
I want to talk about the other aspect of it.
That's fine. All right, so that one didn't carry. Now. Yes.
To bring the athletic budget forward at 0%.
All right, now we have a motion to cut the athletic budget by $48,000 and change. Do I have a second for that motion?
Where's that number from? If I can-
0,
The total increase, it's the $15,000 plus the $33,000 custodial.
to make it a 0 increase in that budget.
Do we have a second for Fiona's motion? Seeing none, motion does not move. Okay, our next,
Would this be the proper time to make the motion?
nope. I just want to go through the list of the ones we already have. You had your chance to make your comments, you didn't make one about pay for play. I want to go through the ones that we currently have. If you want to add one at the end, I'll let you add one at the end, okay? The reduction of the coaches, the literacy and numeracy coaches, Fiona brought it up as taking the coaches and applying the salaries to an AP position at the high school, correct? I'm wordsmithing, you word it the way you want it to be. AP.
What is AP studies?
I'm sorry, assistant principal position.
I actually would hear you. I actually liked your idea of taking the 2 upper level ones and making them assistant principals and coaches for the upper levels.
Second by David. Any discussion on that?
And what does that do to the budget then? If you're giving them their salary and goes up, right? So it makes them more expensive.
You're going from 3 to 2.
So you're
taking-
reducing one and making the other 2, and what's that net out at? Because those 2 now become administrators and they're on a different pay scale, is that correct?
And the administrators are roughly 96, assistant principals? Or 114, so that would be 228, and you had a savings of 180, if I remember correctly. So that would be an increase to the budget of 34,000. No, I forgot to double that. 48,000.
Which is exactly the athletic increase.
Yeah, but you also, point of discussion,
What's that?
with all due respect, you know, you're, once again, you're somehow just pushing together functions here. Who's to say that these coaches, if they're really effective as coaches, as literacy coaches, am I hearing this correctly? You want them to also function as helping what capacity as administrators? What's their administrative function? I understand the literacy function, they're the literacy coaches, what's their administrative function?
Discipline.
How,
Would-
To assist the principals and the assistant principals at our upper
Discipline is
levels.
also a specialized skill. With a specialized body of knowledge that you have to have.
An assistant principal would have those skills to do both. They're instructional leaders.
Excuse me?
In the model we're proposing, they would be.
Who's not administrators? Who- Who's not administrators? We're aware of that.
We understand that. Just let us, we understand.
It would be a switch from a teaching position to an administrative position.
Question, Cheryl. These coaches, you're saying they are teachers even though they do not have any students.
Explain it.
So you can be, you can be classified as a teacher but not have any students.
The teachers are the students to the coaches, but they also can go in the classroom and do model lessons and help teachers with the instructional strategies.
We had a
So
sit,
they have, actually, they have all students as their students.
Mr. Chairman, where are we at in the discussion right now? I'm trying to
The
figure out-
discussion right now is to remove the 3 coaching positions and add 2 administrative positions at the middle school and the high school. Or secondary education, not necessarily middle school and high school. That's the motion. It's not to move the people, it's to eliminate 3 positions and create 2 new positions.
And we're in the discussion phase of that.
We are in the discussion phase. It was motion by Fiona, second by David. Mr. Rivera.
My concern is that the K through 5 numeracy coach was the only data that I saw year over year, that was hard data, where there was an increase, where it looked like we were having an impact, was K through 5. Now we want to, and I'm not saying that it didn't happen 6 through 12, I just didn't see year over year actual data.
We only have 1 year with this.
I got you. I sympathize with that, but I'm saying I can see a person making a difference K through 5. This, what we're voting on, eliminates that and just gives the benefit to middle school, high school. Now, I'm not saying, I'm not disagreeing that you don't need perhaps an administrator, an extra administrator, especially at the high school, but this doesn't address the K through 5 numeracy problem. You're installing administrators who are going to have coaching functions everywhere except K through 5, where they've had the biggest impact.
If I could, with all due respect, Fiona, I think the board would be better off at this point in trying to separate out. Those are 2 fundamentally different discussions right now. One is these coaches are valuable to our system, as the administration said. The board's consideration is how valuable are they in terms of what it costs. That's the discussion. And I think that's a separate discussion than how can we keep them, include them, and make them into, multitasking. That's a whole other complexity. I think the core issue should first and foremost be, can we afford this position? Can we afford coaches within our school, within our district? Can we afford that? And I think we should get down to basic discussion about basic principles and then build from that as to what else we might do. You know what I'm saying?
Do you wish to amend your motion? or
Are
do you
these
want to vote
positions
on it the way
justified
it is?
based on the data? I think that's where Mr. Rivera was going last week. He asked for that. I don't think that's been adequately, to my mind, that's not been adequately answered yet. And to that point, you've produced several documents here, and what I'm trying to get at is when these literacy coaches came into the system, what year are we looking at? Where is the bump in performance improvement that we should be looking at? In the 2011 line here?
You're looking at the mathematics piece.
The problem with the literacy coach is there's the literacy coach at the high school
Yeah.
that has been vacant since fall.
Yeah.
The other 2 coaching positions are numeracy coaches. One's at the middle school and one is in the elementary schools. K through 5 and 6 through 12, right? So the other literacy support that happens at the elementary level are not coaching positions. They're, what's their official title?
They're coaches.
Are they coaches?
Yes. And as defined, I think, Mr. Jocelyn can give the definition of a coach if we need it.
But when we asked about coaches, we were told there was 3 coaching positions and you had the literacy assistants, which were the original 4 cuts in way back in late February, early March. We had made 5 cuts from that ranks. So are they considered coaches with the same as the numeracy and literacy coaches, or are they a different function, the elementary ones? You have a literacy specialist at each elementary school.
Correct.
is that a literacy specialist or is that a literacy coach?
That's a literacy coach, and 2 people are language arts consultant by their certification.
2 of the 5?
2 of the 5. The other 3 are coaches
Right.
on
But-
the elementary level.
But what Mr. Cavanero is trying to get at is the effectiveness of the coaches.
He was,
Right.
Right, Paul? Within the color
No.
diagram, are you discussing,
District
not the,
wide.
not- the
No.
district-wide is your concern, not the building level? Is that what you're trying to say?
right.
What I'm trying to say is if these positions,
We just have words that are close, position titles that are close. I want to make sure we're talking about the right.
so do I do. I mean, I'm trying
That's
to
all.
get exactly, I mean, so we've got 3 actually coaches and then, but there's 2 assistant coaches.
There's 3 coaches, there's 2 numeracy coaches, one's K through 5, one's 6 through 12.
Yeah,
There's a literacy coach
that's
that is 6 through 12.
right.
There are 5 elementary literacy positions. 2 of them are consultants, 3 of them are coaches.
And they're consultants by, and there are employees, but they're consultants by their certification. A language arts consultant has done different study to become that label. But in the elementary schools, there's a definite literacy coach in every building. 2 are called consultants by their degrees.
I'm trying to just do the math here. I'm just trying to get an actual head count. So in the elementary school, you have 5 literacy coaches.
One in every building.
There's 5 literacy, 1 in every building. Got that. And these are certified, these are the certified ones?
Yes,
These 5, okay.
they're all certified.
as coaches, okay. In addition to these 5 literacy, we have 3 that are, okay, so why don't you just explain?
Okay.
So in addition to 5 elementary, you've got,
And we had 1, with literacy, do it by literacy and numeracy.
okay,
With literacy, we have 5 elementary
Yep.
literacy coaches
Yep.
and 1 secondary, 6 through 12, of which we hired somebody last fall and she left in the fall.
okay. got
And
that.
we could not backfill that, couldn't find someone.
Okay, so that's-
Mathematics,
Yeah,
we have 1 person on the elementary level for numeracy
yeah.
and 1 person on, you could say, secondary, 6 through 12.
Okay. So we're looking at 8 then.
8.
8 in the district. It seems like a luxury. It seems like something, it seems like, well, no, but what I'm looking at,
We don't,
the data you yourself provided, since 2006, I'm seeing basically a kind of slow, steady increase in performance here. And this was prior to having literacy and numeracy coaches.
no, you've had literacy coaches, what?
Yeah, but the numbers you're looking at are only math, Paul.
Elementary level for over 20 years, and it was not a grant-funded position. That elementary math consultant, which you are referring to as a coach, has been in place for over 20 years. I have been teaching for 23 years in this district, and that position has been in this budget, and there were 2 at the elementary level for over 20 years. The elementary person is not a grant-funded person.
Senator Clyde, could you come forward, please? We got a microphone here.
No, I'd really like us, we have the public comment section coming up in a minute.
Mr. Jocelyn can provide this information, the history of consultants and coaches in the district.
I am a classroom teacher. My name is Sandy Mangan. I have taught at Torrington School for 23 years. I have the letter that Marie Paganini, one of my constituents, one of my colleagues, was going to read to you. And we truly feel it would help clarify some of the information for you in terms of the discussion that you're having. And I'm sorry if we're out of order, but you have to understand what this means to us and what impact this person has in our elementary schools. And when you ask about students, and students that this is going to impact, 2,206 students. That is how many students are serviced by this consultant, coach, whatever you want to call her, at the elementary level. And this letter says that, this is from our whole Torrington School staff. We support this position. We would like you to reconsider your recommendation to eliminate the math coach from the elementary level. This position has been in existence for over 20 years and has been funded by the Board of Education budget. It was never grant funded. The role of the math consultant has proven to be essential in providing continuity of instruction throughout the district. Our present math consultant is more than just a coach. She has taken a proactive approach in developing teacher understanding of the Common Core state standards. These will be in effect in 2014, and it is not possible for an elementary classroom teacher to analyze and apply the necessary changes to curriculum without the guidance and expertise of a math consultant. In our last several grade level meetings, our consultant has identified many of the changes that the Common Core will bring and aligned them with our current curriculum. She then developed a plan to implement new units of study in the classroom so that we would be prepared for 2014. Our math consultant does more than just curriculum work. When she introduces a new unit, she always visits classrooms and models these for teachers. At the end of the day, she holds a debriefing session, and together, teachers and the consultant discuss and refine the instruction. Her efforts do not end there. She works closely with any teacher who requests support. She will come to classrooms to team teach and will assist small groups or individual students who are struggling. She is a critical part of our RTI process also. Her perseverance results in increased student achievement. Teachers also become more confident and knowledgeable about the curriculum and instructional strategies.
Can I hold you up for 1 second? Yeah, stop referring to the individual. 'Cause we
It's the
can't-
position.
What I want you to do, just so we don't cross a line, is I just want you to refer to the position and not the person, okay?
Well,
Just so we're not,
okay.
just put in consultant instead of she.
Okay.
Thank you.
At several points throughout the year, our math consultant provides the district with professional development opportunities as well as monthly grade level meetings. Topics range from analysis of CMT results to new instructional strategies to curriculum differentiation for students with special needs. We also examine student work for the purpose of determining next steps. The math consultant also initiates teacher growth by recommending professional texts and holding book discussions. This willingness to remain current in sound mathematical practices is never more valuable as when a new teacher is hired or a veteran teacher changes grade levels. The consultant works tirelessly to ensure that these teachers have the materials and background knowledge needed to be effective educators. We understand that Torrington is experiencing fiscal hardship. We appreciate that you have many difficult decisions to make. We also understand that you do not want to eliminate anything from the budget that will impact direct services to children. However, the elimination of the math consultant position at the elementary level will have a serious and long-lasting impact on 2,206 elementary students and 106 teachers throughout the district. Attached to this letter, you will find data from the last 6 years showing an analysis of CMT results in the area of math. When compared to the state, Torrington students are achieving proficiency at a higher rate. The graph shows 4 different classes as they progress from 3rd to 5th grade. It shows the percent of students achieving proficiency. We believe this progress is a direct result of the work the math consultant does with students and teachers. This position is not an administrative position. It is somebody who is this position. The consultant comes into the classroom. The consultant works with children. The consultant works with teachers. As an elementary school teacher, I am responsible for math, reading, science, social studies, and all the other things that aren't defined in subject areas to help make my students successful and worldly and adults we want to have in our community. With the work that's coming forth with the Common Core and all of the things that change constantly in the world of education, there is not a way I can keep on top of all of that. And that math consultant is what helps to keep me current. And I am a reader. I am the past president of the Connecticut Reading Association. I consider myself a well-versed person who reads constantly and attends as many workshops as I possibly can on my own dollar. and I still can't keep as current as the math consultant and as the literacy consultant, the reading consultant in my building, in this district. And I think that they are valuable positions that need to be left in this budget. And I know that my colleagues feel the same way. I thank you for your time. I think it's important that we know that they're not administrators. And to say that we could just remove them, it would be detrimental to our students and to our schools. Thank you.
Based on that, it's unfair to everybody that signed up to speak for you to allow to invite her up. I'm going to move this question to a vote, and then we're going to open a public session and let everybody that signed up speak, so that everybody in the audience that asked to speak gets a fair chance, just like the group that did. So I'm going to move the question.
Please explain, Mr. Chairman, what the question means.
We have a motion on the floor that was seconded by Dave that's now going to a vote.
Why not discussion?
We were in discussion, but
We didn't. Responsibility to explain to the board member what's going to happen if they vote yes. If they vote yes, what's going to happen?
the motion is to remove the 3 coaching positions, being numeracy coach K through 5, numeracy coach 6 through 12, literacy coach 6 through 12, and turn them into 2 secondary assistant principals. That was the motion that was made.
Your motion to move, what that means is if the board supports that motion to move, that there will be no more discussion on this.
I understand what it means to move a question, Paul.
Yes, but you need to explain to the new board members, make sure they understand.
Do you understand what?
You are ending discussion if you support this. If you vote no to this, then you
All
will
right.
then the board can
Okay,
continue the discussion.
all right, okay, I've moved it.
Can I withdraw my motion till after public comment? Because I feel that it's unfair to vote now that we've let one person comment without letting.
If you want to withdraw your motion, you can withdraw your motion.
And then you can make it again.
Absolutely. I feel now that we've went out of order by letting someone, then we need to give everyone an
Just
opportunity.
as a point of order, we have to vote to amend the agenda to insert
A public speaking session.
a public commentary session, because that's not included on the agenda. So moved. Second. All those in favor of amending the agenda?
So,
So moved.
all right. We're going to open up the public, and then we'll go back to the remaining questions that we had.